Welcome to Cinema Bites,
Kraven!
your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Our movie begins with our hero, Kraven, who is in a transport vehicle entering a prison complex in Russia. He is placed in a cell with a terrifying-looking prisoner. The prisoner tells Kraven, "I don't like anyone staying in my cell." Kraven responds, "I'm only staying for 3 days." Of course, the prisoner doesn't believe him, as everyone in that prison is serving life sentences. Kraven goes out to exercise in the prison yard, but two men tell him that the equipment belongs to Simon, and he can't use it. They press down on the barbell with all their weight to crush Kraven underneath, but Kraven manages to lift them along with the barbell and defeats them. Afterward, the prison guards take Kraven to Simon. It becomes clear that Simon is a dangerous criminal, so much so that even the police follow his orders. Simon tells Kraven, "Are you crazy for attacking my men? Don't you know who I am?" Kraven replies, "Of course I know you. You're a criminal and a killer, and I work as a hunter for people like you." Simon's men lock the door, but Kraven manages to pull a fang from a stuffed tiger, and with ease, he kills Simon's men and Simon himself. Not only that, but he also escapes through the prison ceiling, showcasing skills that combine the abilities of all the animals in the jungle in climbing and escaping. Indeed, Kraven escapes, but a wolf appears in the snow, wanting to attack him. Here we see something strange. Kraven commands the wolf to back off, and the wolf obeys. We go back 16 years. We see Kraven as a schoolboy with his brother Dmitri. Their father comes to take them, but they question why he's taking them before the school term ends, saying their mother never did that. Their father tells them, "Your mother committed suicide because she was weak and crazy." Kraven responds, "She killed herself because you kept us away from her." They think their father is taking them out for a treat, but in reality, he's taking them on a hunting trip in Tanzania to hunt a ferocious lion named Jar. This trip is supposed to make them real men. In Tanzania, we meet a girl named Calypso, who is playing with cards that resemble playing cards. Her grandmother, a witch, tells her that these are not ordinary cards. They reveal the future. Her grandmother predicts a major event will occur, resulting in great power. She gives her a magical potion, telling her it was passed down from her ancestors. The potion has the ability to heal anyone in an extraordinary way. Meanwhile, Kraven and Dimitri's father hunts a gazelle, makes Kraven dip his hand in its blood, and tells him not to fear death. "We are predators, and they are prey. You must be a man so that everyone fears you." At the same time, we see their father belittling Dmitri, which greatly upsets Dmitri, as their father clearly favors Kraven. The next day, their journey to find the lion Jar continues. We meet a man named Alexei, who appears weak and sickly. Alexei asks to partner with them, but their father mocks him, saying, "You're nothing, weak and insignificant. Who are you to partner with me, the leader of the world's toughest men?" This angers Alexei greatly. As they continue their journey, Dmitri and Kraven follow behind. Suddenly, they encounter the legendary lion Jar in the bush. Kraven aims his rifle at the lion but doesn't shoot. The lion even looks at Dmitri without attacking him. Their father shoots the lion multiple times, but Jar, being stronger than the bullets, escapes with Kraven. We then see Calypso with her family on a diplomatic trip in the jungle. She steps out of the car and sees the lion Jar laying Kraven on the ground, looking at her as if asking for her to heal him. A drop of the lion's blood falls into Kraven's wound. Without hesitation, Calypso pours half of the magical potion into Kraven's mouth and calls for an ambulance. We see the ambulance helicopter taking Kraven, while Calypso places the card with the lion's image and the rest of the magical potion in his clothes. In the hospital, the doctors declare Kraven's heart has stopped and he is dead. At that moment, we see the lion Jar roaring loudly in the jungle, and Kraven's heart starts beating again. The next day, Kraven wakes up, finds the card in his pocket, and is confused. Even the doctor doesn't understand how he came back to life after being dead for 3 full minutes. Dmitri and their father arrive at the hospital, and their father insists on taking Kraven home before his treatment is complete. At home, Kraven finds a letter his mother wrote before her death, explaining that she didn't commit suicide because she wanted to, but because of their father's cruelty. She also expresses her hope that Kraven doesn't become a criminal like his father. His father calls Kraven and scolds him for being afraid and not shooting the lion Jar. He tells him, "You're going to take over my work, and Dmitri will go back to school. You must be strong so that no one dares to challenge us." He shows Kraven the head of the lion Jar, revealing that he managed to hunt it down. For the first time in his life, Kraven gets angry at his father, mourning the lion's death. Kraven locks himself in his room, where he sees an eagle tapping on his window. The eagle seems to communicate with him, telling him to leave, saying, "Your place is not here." Kraven begins packing his belongings, including the clothes he wore during the incident, where he discovers the magical potion bottle. He walks along the edge of the wall and falls, but nothing happens to him. He finds Dmitri waiting for him, trying to stop him, saying, "Don't leave me alone with our cruel father." But Kraven tells him, "Something strange is calling me, and I must go to the place where we camped with Mom. My life is there, not here." He bids Dmitri farewell and leaves. He reaches the jungle where they used to camp, and suddenly discovers that his sense of hearing has become extremely sharp. He hears a strange sound and realizes that a herd of wild buffalo is charging toward him, about to trample him. Strangely, the herd avoids him, and a buffalo even stands in front of him to protect him until the entire herd passes by without harming him. This is the camping spot where he used to stay with his mother. He sits there, remembering her, and also recalling his father's words about weakness being fatal. We see that Kraven has become stronger in every way, in throwing spears, running, and even jumping long distances. His senses have sharpened, allowing him to spot illegal hunters killing buffalo and taking their horns. He goes to them at an incredible speed. They try to push him away, telling him this is not his place, but Kraven tells them this is his home. He grabs the knife they used to cut the buffalo horns and kills all the hunters. We move to the present time and see Kraven returning to the jungle after finishing off their poison in prison. We learn that he deliberately went to prison for this reason. We also see Kraven's brother talking to him, reminding him that today is his birthday and that they need to see each other. Additionally, we see that Kraven has turned the camping site into a 5-star place because it has become his permanent home. Once again, we see the gang killing buffalo, taking nothing but the horns. They find Kraven standing at the exit gate, asking them why they are doing this. Their leader tells him to mind his own business and adds that there are 6 of them and only one of him, meaning they could kill him if he doesn't let them go. One of them approaches Kraven, but we see Kraven slipping under the car, coming out from behind, grabbing the buffalo horns and killing everyone in the car. However, their leader shoots at Kraven and manages to escape with the car. Kraven discovers their location. We see the gang leader going to apologize to his boss, saying someone killed the gang members. But we discover that the person sitting in front of him is Kraven himself, who had already killed the gang leader before he arrived. Kraven then kills the boss after seeing his name on a list of criminals. Kraven finds a list of all the criminals in the world and promises to hunt them down one by one. Next, we see Calypso, who has become a lawyer. She is with her close friend Samantha. We learn that Samantha exposed Simon, the criminal Kraven killed in prison. However, Simon's men killed Samantha. At this point, Kraven manages to reach Calypso. Of course, Calypso doesn't recognize him because his appearance has changed. He shows her the card with the lion on it, and she realizes he is the young man whose life she saved. Calypso asks Kraven how he found her, and he tells her he's now a hunter of people. He explains that he avenged her friend Samantha by killing Simon in prison. Calypso researches the news and confirms that Kraven indeed killed Simon. She realizes that Kraven is the hunter everyone in the country is talking about. They meet again, but she is unhappy with what he has done because she is a lawyer and cannot condone killing. She tells him she knows his father and that he is a gang leader. She asks Kraven if he is becoming like his father. Kraven replies that he is the complete opposite of his father, as he eliminates criminals. He hands her the list he has and asks her to help him locate these people since she works at a large law firm. However, when Calypso sees the names, she warns him that pursuing these people will cost him his loved ones. We then see Alexei, the man who was with their father on the hunting trip, carrying a bag he never takes off. Alexei's assistant informs him that Simon was killed in prison and that the hunter is responsible. He also tells Alexei that if the hunter has his name on the list, he will kill him no matter what. Alexei decides they must find the hunter before he finds them. When Alexei learns of Simon's death, he calls for the 3 smartest of Simon's men to take over Simon's operations. One of Simon's men challenges Alexei's authority, saying he's not the one called the Rhino. Alexei decides to show them his abilities. He connects a hose from the bag to his body, and his skin transforms to resemble rhino hide. One of Simon's men shoots him, but the bullet doesn't penetrate his thick skin. Alexei removes the bullet with his hand, reconnects the hose, and returns to his normal form. One of Alexei's snipers kills one of the 3 men, leaving 2. Alexei asks them who will be his partner. One of them kills the other, leaving himself as the sole candidate, and becomes Alexei's partner. Meanwhile, we see Dmitri, Kraven's brother, who has become a singer and has a manager named Lily. Alexei's new partner, who was one of Simon's men, goes to meet Kraven's father. Kraven's father offers a partnership, and the man agrees too quickly, raising the father's suspicions. He realizes the man has made a deal with someone else. We learn that Alexei, known as the Rhino, has set a trap to kill Kraven's father and shoots at him from all sides. However, Kraven's father manages to escape. At the same time, Dmitri hides under the piano, angering his father, who sees him as a coward, unlike Kraven. We then see Alexei's assistant informing him that the assassination attempt on Kraven's father failed and that all their men were killed. They find a flash drive at the door, which contains a video of Kraven escaping from prison. Alexei realizes from the video that the hunter, Kraven, is the son of the man he wants to kill. Alexei is unsure if the information is accurate, so he hires a man known as the Foreigner, a crazy individual who hates the hunter. The Foreigner goes to the prison where Kraven killed Simon and finds the fang Kraven used to kill him. A prison guard threatens him with a gun, saying no one is allowed inside. However, the Foreigner has a supernatural ability to hypnotize people, allowing him to move freely. He kills the prison guard. Meanwhile, Kraven celebrates his birthday with his brother Dmitri. Dmitri confesses that he was a coward when their father was attacked and couldn't protect him. Kraven reassures him that fear is natural and tells him he will never be like their father, who is a criminal. At this point, their father arrives. Kraven, disgusted, refuses to greet him. Their father asks Kraven to forget the past and live together as a family again. That night, Kraven returns to Dmitri's apartment but cannot sleep in the bed because he is used to sleeping in the jungle. He goes to sleep in a public park. The next morning, he returns to Dmitri's apartment but finds him missing. Looking out from the balcony, he sees a gang kidnapping his brother, forcing him into a car. Kraven notices the type of cigarette one of them is smoking. He chases after them at incredible speed, using his skills to catch up to the car. He tries to break the window, but the car is bulletproof. However, he manages to break part of the car door and attempts to enter. One of the gang members shoots at him, causing him to collide with an oncoming car and fall off. The gang escapes with Dmitri, taking him onto a helicopter. Kraven aims a net at the helicopter, and he tries to pull the net hard to stop the plane. But the plane drags him into the sea until he hits a metal part in the water. After that, Kraven goes to Calypso and tells her the details about his brother's kidnapper, and Calypso promises to try and find out exactly who he is. Kraven then goes to his father, who informs him that the gang cut off his brother's fingers and sent them, and that they are demanding 20 million. Of course, Kraven tells him not to pay, but his father refuses, saying the problem isn't the money, but the reputation. The criminals would see us as weak. Your son is kidnapped and they're torturing him, and you're worried about what the criminals will think of you. Naturally, Kraven mocks him, gets upset, and looks at the stuffed lion saying, "You call yourself a legend, and you can't even get your son back." Later, we see Calypso meeting someone who will tell her where Dmitri is. Indeed, the man tells her that Dmitri is now being held by someone named Omar in Turkey. But it turns out that the man works for the Foreigner, who instructed him to say that. When the man demands twice the agreed amount, the Foreigner kills him instantly. Meanwhile, we see Alexei the Rhino talking to his men in Turkey, telling them to prepare because the hunter is coming for them. Kraven arrives in Turkey, sneaks into the place through a window, and fights the men using sharp, needle-like wooden weapons he designed. More men gather to attack him, but he is stronger than all of them. Outside the building, we see more men armed with cannons, which is part of the Rhino's plan to keep Kraven busy inside, while the fire from outside, collapsing the building on everyone inside. Kraven captures the man who kidnapped his brother and hangs him out the window, demanding to know where Dmitri is. At that moment, he notices the cannon aimed at them and jumps out the window just as the cannon destroys the building, which collapses on Kraven and the kidnapper. We then see the Foreigner discovering the poisoned darts used by the hunter. The Foreigner realizes the darts contain a narcotic derived from a rare plant. The police arrive at the scene, but the Foreigner deals with them in his own way. Meanwhile, Dmitri is with the Rhino, who apologizes to him, saying, "We didn't mean to kidnap you. My men didn't find anyone else but you." Dmitri is confused and asks, "Why did you want to kidnap my brother? He doesn't harm anyone." The Rhino shows Dmitri a video proving that his brother is the hunter. Later, the Rhino's men find a body under the rubble and take a photo to celebrate the news of the hunter's death. But Kraven appears behind them, takes them out, and reveals that the body is that of Dmitri's kidnapper. Kraven calls Calypso, warning her that the Rhino's men had set a trap to eliminate him, because they know he's the hunter and will likely come after her next. Indeed, a group of the Rhino's men head to Calypso's office, but she quickly gathers her things and escapes. Meanwhile, the Rhino talks to Dmitri, telling him that he used to be weak just like him until he met a chemistry doctor in New York. This doctor developed a serum that enhances strength. Alexei transforms in front of Dmitri into the Rhino and demonstrates his newfound power. He asks Dmitri to join him against his father, but Dmitri refuses, saying, "I won't betray my family." Alexei tries to kill him, but at that moment he receives news that Kraven is still alive and that his men failed to capture the tiger. However, Kraven manages to tame the tiger, which escapes. He reassures Calypso, saying, "Don't worry, I've raised this tiger since it was a cub." We return to the Foreigner, who asks Alexei why he is so obsessed with the hunter. The Foreigner reveals that the hunter killed his mentor, who taught him crime and deception. The foreigner claims to know the hunter's location because he understands the hunter's use of spears and plants, recognizing that all the plants he uses are deadly. Kraven tells Calypso that he has long wanted to know what's inside the magical potion she carries. She admits she doesn't know, as it was passed down from her grandmother, who left her only the bottle in her hand before passing away. She also informs him that the rhino is on the move and likely heading their way. Indeed, we see the foreigner and the rhino on their way to Kraven. The foreigner has prepared a dangerous weapon to use against Kraven, a specific poison that causes hallucinations, paralysis, and eventually death. Kraven is at his camp when his phone rings. Only his brother knows the number. He answers to find Dmitri, but the rhino takes the phone and reveals that he is now on their land. He asks Kraven to cooperate with him, but Kraven refuses and ends the call. Alexei sends his men with heavy weapons while his dog heads toward the forest, thinking the hunter is there. However, Kraven's tiger attacks them, killing some of them. Dmitri uses the chaos to escape into the forest toward his brother, but the foreigner spots him. Kraven sets traps in the area, taking down Alexei's men one by one. Hearing their screams, Alexei realizes they've been defeated and orders an aerial attack. The plane fires, setting the area ablaze. Calypso sees the fire and considers helping Kraven. Meanwhile, the foreigner injects Kraven with the poison, causing him to hallucinate spiders crawling all over his body. He mistakes a tree trunk for the foreigner and attacks it. The foreigner prepares to kill the legendary hunter with a gun. Alexei's men arrive, but the foreigner insists on killing the hunter himself, dismissing them and ordering them to capture Dmitri instead. Before the foreigner can kill Kraven, Calypso shoots an arrow into his eye, killing him. However, the poison has spread through Kraven's body, and he dies. Calypso reveals another bottle of the magical potion, gives it to Kraven, and tells him, "Legends never die." Kraven revives. Alexei's men capture Dmitri and believe the hunter is dead. They leave in their vehicles, but suddenly, a herd of wild buffalo charges toward them. Alexei uses the serum to transform into the rhino, enduring the impact. For the first time, we see Alexei's complete transformation into Rhino Man. The buffalo crashes into Alexei's vehicles, but he remains unaffected. Kraven appears and the two fight atop the vehicles. The rhino uses his horn to flip the car Kraven is on, causing all the vehicles to overturn. Meanwhile, the buffalo circles around them, and the forest transforms into a battlefield between Rhino Man and Kraven. Kraven attacks the rhino with knives, but its body is too thick and unaffected by any blow. The rhino overpowers Kraven because it is significantly stronger, but Kraven spots the location of the device on the rhino's body and inserts an iron rod into it. This strike severely affects the rhino, causing it to bleed from its mouth. Using his skills, Kraven wraps a wire around the rhino and throws the wire toward the buffalo. The buffalo pulls the rhino and crushes it under its feet. At this point, we can say the rhino is finished, but Kraven asks it one last question before it dies. "Who gave you the flash drive with the video that exposed me?" The rhino tells him, "It was right in front of your eyes. You know him well." Then we see Dmitri holding a gun, intending to kill the rhino, but Kraven stops him, saying, "You're a good person, you can't do this." We then see the rhino's body changing as it dies. Afterward, we shift to Kraven's father, who is on a hunting trip, sleeping in a tent. He sees his son in front of him. Kraven confronts him, saying, "You sent the flash drive to the rhino." Here, the father admits his evil plan outright. The rhino wanted to kill him, and he couldn't handle it alone. If he had asked his son for help, Kraven would have refused. So he sent the flash drive to the rhino, essentially setting it against his son, confident that Kraven would defeat the rhino. Kraven tells him, "I could have killed you long ago, but I didn't, because you're my father." He advises him not to fear death and walks away. At that moment, a wild bear attacks his father. The father grabs a rifle to kill the bear but finds it empty of bullets. We discover that he had emptied the rifle himself, and the bear ends his life. A year later, we see Dmitri at his nightclub, and Kraven comes to wish him a happy birthday. Dmitri tells his brother that he went to the New York doctor to become stronger. Remember the doctor Alexei visited? But Kraven notices Dmitri shaking hands with two mafia members and becomes very suspicious. Dmitri suddenly declares, "I'm going to continue Dad's work." Kraven responds, "Impossible. How will you do that? I'll stop you." Dmitri attacks him, saying, "Stop pretending you have honor and principles. I know you're the reason Dad died. You're just like any hunter who hunts for fun." Dmitri walks away, and Kraven follows him, trying to convince him to abandon this path. But we discover that Dmitri now has the ability to change his appearance like a chameleon, thanks to the New York doctor. Dmitri tells Kraven, "Your father is dead, and so is the rhino. I will take over all their work and become the strongest." Kraven replies, "I won't let you do that." Dmitri tells him, "Go home. Your father left you a message." Kraven finds a letter from his father saying, You and I are alike. We are the greatest people in the world. We are hunters. Continue my path. He also leaves him a hunting cloak made of lion fur. And with that, our summary concludes. If you enjoyed the summary, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.